Big time news for Hugh Freeze and DJ Durkin as four-star edge Jaquez Wilkes officially commits to the Auburn Tigers. Yes, sir. What's up to my Auburn family? Welcome to the Uptempo Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Smith. We got some good news to report today. Four-star edge Jaquez Wilkes officially commits to the Auburn Tigers. 6'4", 220 pounds out of Wiley, Alabama. This is a name that we've heard all summer long, been trending to Auburn for a long time. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I should say I was worried, but the more that it drug on, I just kind of started to wonder, was something going on here? It feels like it went on all summer, but the news comes across today. Auburn able to get Jaquez in the boat, and the Tigers starting to win some battles that they're supposed to win. You look back at Wilson Zaire, the argument could be made, well, that was always supposed to be Auburn. But Auburn this summer has been losing some battles that they were supposed to win. So it feels like Auburn's starting to get back on track, winning the guys that they always should have had in the commitment list already. So I like it, man. Top 100 player, 247 has Jaquez listed as, let me get the ranking right here. They have him listed as the number 91st player in the country, the 10th ranked edge, and the number 7 player in the state of Alabama. And then the composite rankings have him as the 90th player in the country, the number 11th ranked edge, and the number 6 player in the state of Alabama. So consensus top 100 player. Everyone kind of sees him in that 6 to 7 range in the state of Alabama. I just did the film breakdown for the members. If you haven't signed up for the memberships, what are you doing? Do that right now. Go sign up today. Got the film breakdown out for Jaquez, and it's the raw athleticism. You see that 6'4", 220-pound frame. You see a guy that has a high NFL caliber ceiling. Going to take him a little bit of time to get his body right, get adjusted, because he plays 1A ball in Alabama. Going to take him a little bit of time to get adjusted to the SEC size and speed and everything that goes into that. On his tape, you really just see him just being just outworking guys, just shooting into the backfield from 5-6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He's just so much faster. He's so much stronger than everybody out there. Just really kind of using his athleticism to dominate. Half of his huddles, him running the football. You can't take a whole lot from that other than just how athletic he is. But there are several where the entire defense seems like it has him bottled up and he just breaks through because he keeps those legs moving. So the lower body strength is there. Just kind of looks like the guy that could be a natural pass rusher when you look at his frame, when you look at his athletic ability. But again, I think he's the guy that might take him a year or so, maybe redshirt that freshman year. And as his redshirt freshman year, his second year in college kind of goes on, kind of start to crack that rotation and get in there on some third downs and get after the pass rusher. But big time pickup for Auburn, man. You had to get this one in the boat. This is just one that you couldn't afford to lose as long as he's been trending to Auburn. And we know how much Auburn dominated the state of Alabama last year. Hasn't necessarily been the case this year. But when you get Jaquez Wilkes, number 6, number 7 player in the state, depending on where you look, that helps you out with that one a ton. So got to keep these guys that want to be at Auburn, want to play for DJ Durkin. Got to keep them at home, man. So big win. And it's starting to feel like, as we get closer to the season, and I'm not saying that Auburn's completely pivoted yet, because I still think the August 1st date is a real thing, but it's starting to feel like maybe Auburn's put a little bit more of the foot on the gas with some of these recruitments, because you look at Wilson Zaire, he was trending. Alabama was starting to make some noise. Florida State was starting to make some noise. And then all of a sudden, it's no, I got a commitment date coming. I'm committing to Auburn. Same thing with Jaquez Wilkes. As teams like Texas A&M kind of continued to hang around in their recruitment, I started to get a little bit nervous. Miami kind of hanging around, with Jason Taylor being the primary recruiter for Miami there. I started to wonder. Those teams are obviously not scared to spend money. So feels like Auburn is maybe kind of put a little bit more emphasis on closing out some of these recruitments that they have as the really important ones on their board. And I'm here for it. As you look forward, you got a couple more guys that are on the board that have commitment dates before the season. If Auburn can get those guys on board, I think that Auburn can be in striking distance of a top 20 class around the time that kickoff comes. And with this commitment, you're kind of starting to climb out of those depths of being 80s and 70s, depending on where you looked. But if Auburn can kind of keep winning these battles that they're favored in, you're going to look up and have maybe at least a dozen commitments by time for kickoff, and you won't be where you want to be, but you'll be within striking distance of, okay, now if we start winning some football games, and if there's some more clarification on the house settlement and the NIL and how all that's going to work out, then Auburn will kind of start to show proof of concept on the field, maybe start to get the offers up a little bit closer to what the other teams are, or Auburn was right and those other teams have to come down. Whatever way that plays out, I think that Auburn right now, I'm not going to say Auburn's on a heater in recruiting or anything like that, but Auburn has definitely got it turned back around. When you felt like Auburn was slipping and going backwards and you were kind of wondering what the hell is going on, I got to shout out John Cohen and Hugh Freeze for being pretty clear on what was going on. They didn't have to say anything, but they understand that they are in charge of a big brand in Auburn football. This fan base is dedicated and going to keep up with every little thing that's going on, especially high school recruiting, and the fans wanted answers. I give them kudos to go into these ambush events and go into these press conferences and everything, and being clear and explaining to the Auburn fans, to the Auburn reporters and the Auburn media, that way those guys can get it out to the fans and get the message out there and be very clear on it as to what's going on. And they didn't have to say, I've heard John Cohen say, I believe he said at the ambush event in Atlanta last week, he said, we're ready to jump in with both feet, if need be, into the money conversation. So if it doesn't go the way they think it's going to go. So they've just been very transparent on this whole process. And so I feel like, again, I'm not going to say Auburn's crushing it in recruiting or anything right now, but you're back to winning the battles that you're supposed to win. There's some noise about maybe some guys that committed to other schools that you should have got. Maybe a couple of those you can get back in the boat. So I think Auburn's going back in the right direction. And now that you're going back in the right direction, let's see if you can speed up a little bit and get some real momentum going here. So love this pickup for Auburn. Auburn had to do it. You are now in double-digit commitments. You already were if you were counting the long snapper. Some people count a long snapper. Some people don't. I think you should count them. So Auburn, if you do count the long snapper, Auburn sitting at 11 commitments overall. If you don't, sitting at 10. But smash that thumbs up button, man. Sub to the channel if you have not done that already. Sign up for the Up-Tempo memberships today, and you will get film breakdowns on all the commits like Jaquez Wilkes. Keeping the 4-star edge from Wiley, Alabama at home. Big win for DJ Durkin. Big win for Hugh Freeze. If you're listening on podcast, please go ahead and follow. Leave a 5-star review. I'll see you guys later in the week. Until then, it's War Damn Eagle.